The security dilemma. How did the United States and Russia become enemies after World War II? Think about it this way, you and a neighbor are armed to the teeth. You both have guns on top of guns. You've got an arsenal and he's got an arsenal. Now, remember that there's no police, there's no one that'll step in and assign blame and send one of you to prison and maintain property rights. It's just the two of you. You might think that he's got some nice land, and he might think you've got some nice land. He might be a Presbyterian and you might be a Catholic, and so you've got some distrust going on an ideological level. But fundamentally, it's the fact that he's so armed to the teeth that you can never really trust him. He can blow you away if he wants, and you can blow him away if you want, so he never really trusts you either. So you two are hostile and are trying to continuously get an edge over one another because, if you've got an edge, there's less of a chance he'll try and blow you away. But that edge makes him feel threatened, so he'll try some way to get an edge over you, which makes you feel threatened. And round the two of you shall go. This is called a security dilemma, and it's the very basic explanation of what went wrong. In essence, it's a bipolar disorder, where the two poles act in opposition to one another because one is a mortal threat to the other. When the dust from World War II cleared, we had the broadly US-aligned order and the Soviet-aligned order, with a large swath of territory that belonged to neither and was hence the proxy battleground for the two empires. That's where the Cold War was fought, in attempting to subvert regimes friendly to the other side and installing a guy that was more friendly to us, even if we thought he was somewhat distasteful. Now, in the case of the US and the Soviet Union, that security dilemma was informed by a great deal of historical and political context. Stalin's fascination with the historical Russian Empire and Old World spheres of influence, for instance, or the Wilsonianism of Truman and later presidents. Acts themselves were informed by the various factions in each country's military and diplomatic services, and by the domestic pressures on the various leaders. And by the media. But fundamentally, it was the fact that, after World War II, there were two main political poles. The US and the Soviet Union had, surprisingly, been somewhat friendly before then. The United States did a major amount of business with the pre-war Soviet Union, and even sent engineers. Private investors such as Henry Ford spent large sums of money establishing factories in the USSR, providing the Soviets with technical expertise that helped their main drive for industrialization. There was, in other words, no inherent reason for the United States to hate a country simply because it was communist. If Russia had been a liberal democracy, there's a large chance we would have been at loggerheads all the same, though it would have expressed itself in different ways. Why is this information about the security dilemma relevant? Because we are heading to a summit in the fall, between Trump and Putin, and, if we want to be successful, it will help to understand how we became polarized, and how we can overcome this. Want to learn more? Visit loveshift.com. LoveShift. Working together we can make a difference.